What's up, guys? So this is like a video that I didn't even think I would ever have to make because for two reasons. First of all, it's obvious that carnivores are not getting scurvy. I am a relatively new carnivore in this space. There's many people who've been carnivore longer than me. Just about any carnivore influencer that you know of, Anthony Chafee, Sean Baker, Bart K. They've all been carnivores for way longer than I have. And yet, so as a 3-year carnivore, even I have not, I've been carnivore long enough that if I was going to get scurvy, I would have scurvy. I would be showing symptoms of scurvy, and I'm clearly not. So it seems like that would be obvious. Like I shouldn't have to explain this to people. And probably for that reason, up until very recently, like hardly anybody has really mentioned that to me. I get accused of, or I get told to expect a lot of things on the carnivore diet: heart disease, colon cancer, all of this ridiculous shit that people say I'm going to get without eating vegetables. But most people don't usually accuse me of impending scurvy. Um, People make videos about it, about why carnivores don't get scurvy. And I'm like, you don't even have to waste your time on that. Nobody thinks carnivores are going to get scurvy. But recently, there's been like this whole flood of people on the internet telling me, "Oh, how's your scurvy going?" Or like, enjoy scurvy when you get it. I'll just break this down real quick. So, as far as I know, when I learned about scurvy, like scurvy became an issue during the old world days when they used to literally sail with sails, wind powered ships across the ocean, and it took many, many months to get across the ocean or to get where they were going. And so they would set sail with provisions, like dried meat, which has almost no nutritional value except maybe protein. I guess they had fresh meat and fish, but eventually that would spoil or they would run out, and long before the journey was over. So their primary source of, I don't even want to call it nutrition or sustenance, but just for the sake of argument, their primary source of nutrition was a carbohydrate biscuit known as a hardtack. It was wheat flour, salt, and water baked into a cookie. Basically, it's just total shit, and it probably had negative nutritional value, just because of the anti-nutrients in wheat. Wheat is just such a terrible, terrible non-food for humans to consume. But that's what they primarily ate when their provisions ran out. So devoid of nutritional value. And that's where the term limey came from. So they determined that if people consumed citrus fruits, it would stave off scurvy. So they started, packing limes along the voyage, and people started consuming limes, and that seemed to maybe alleviate the problem. Here's why carnivores don't get scurvy, even though we're not consuming citrus fruits and kale and all of these high vitamin C foods. Vitamin C is almost molecularly identical to glucose. So in order for glucose to get into the cell, it has to access the GLUT4 transporter, which is like an enzyme that brings the glucose into the cell. And vitamin C needs that same transporter, the GLUT4 transporter. So when your blood sugar is constantly elevated by eating multiple carbohydrate-rich foods, meals per day, all carbs being sugar, your blood sugar basically kind of crowds out the vitamin C, and then you need more vitamin C in order for the vitamin C to have, you need to increase your concentration of vitamin C so that it can kind of like, get to the GLUT4 transporters, because otherwise it's just, it's getting crowded out by the vitamin C. And also, when you consume deuterium, which is a heavy form of hydrogen, commonly found in plants and carbohydrates, there is a metabolic function. I don't remember what it is, but it also kind of diverts resources to that issue. And one of them is, I think it might be the electron transport chain or something. But anyway, some metabolic function gets bogged down by the deuterium and ends up diverting vitamin C to address, to ameliorate the problem. So that requires more vitamin C as well. So anyway, point being that you need more vitamin C on a plant-based diet or consuming plant. And the standard American diet is decidedly plant-based, guys. I mean, like, it's like maybe 20% meat and the rest of it's all plants. It's all carbs, it's all bread and French fries and, whatever, ketchup, soda. So you are diverting a large amount. You're either diverting vitamin C into processes that, it shouldn't be diverted to, and or it is just getting crowded out by all the glucose in your blood. Carnivores don't have that problem, obviously, because we don't consume plants and our blood sugar is relatively low and stable. So our vitamin C is not competing with massive amounts of glucose in the blood to get into the cells. And therefore we need far less vitamin C, in order to meet our daily requirement. And in the absence of that glucose, the dietary requirements for vitamin C is like in the nanograms. And even though there's relatively small amounts of vitamin C in animal products compared to like citrus fruits and kale and whatnot, that's still more than enough, way more than enough than we actually need. My dog's trying to get in the video. It's way more than we actually need, so we don't get scurvy because we have more than enough vitamin C in the food that we consume, because we're not, bogging down our system with massive amounts of carbohydrates, glucose, and deuterium and whatnot. And I believe there's other processes that are affected by like elevated insulin and elevated glucose that require, vitamin C to be diverted to those problems as well. I don't know what they are offhand, but bottom line is, it's a very ineffective way to access vitamin C when you're constantly eating these plant products. So that's why we don't get scurvy. And we get more than enough vitamin C just from the meat. And by the way, if you overconsume vitamin C with all these massive doses of vitamin C and all this kale and citrus fruit and everything, you're all getting vitamin C. The excess vitamin C gets converted to, gets converted to oxalate, which is really, really bad. You do not want excess amounts of oxalates in your body. It's a waste product. It's a metabolic waste product, and your body can deal with it when it's only a metabolic waste product of normal metabolism. But when you're blasting massive amounts of vitamin C and you're probably consuming vitamin C, from sources that are just high in oxalate as it is, like spinach and kale and broccoli, these all have oxalates in it, and then you get excess vitamin C, and then you're getting even more oxalates from that. It's just really, really bad business, guys. So that's the story. That's why we don't get scurvy, guys, and it's really pretty simple, and it's really stupid. I mean, it's stupid that I even have to make this video because there are legions and legions of carnivores. I mean, like, it takes literally weeks for you to develop scurvy symptoms if you're vitamin C deficient. And here we are, like, a lot of us are like years. I mean, I've been a carnivore for 3 years, and there's legions of us, and there's legions of carnivores who've been carnivore way longer than I have. Where's the scurvy at? Like it doesn't take a lot of deductive reasoning to figure out that maybe this is a really stupid argument. So anyway, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Love you guys.